Hello, this is Rani Hari. Welcome back to Asian Fempreneur. If you are new here, welcome. This is the place where the power of play, spirituality, entrepreneurship, and digital technology merge together. Today, in commemoration of Star Wars Day, I would like to talk about something that's Star Wars relevant. When coming up with the topics, I use ChatGPT. I will ask what sort of topics that would be relevant to talk about in relation to Star Wars Day. There are the four possible topics, and one of them is role model and mentorship in Star Wars. I feel called to speak on that. So, in today's episode, we're going to talk about the role of having a mentor, why you should have a mentor, really, based on Star Wars. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that I'm opening my doors for one-on-one coaching. This is a great opportunity, especially if you've been thinking of transitioning, maybe in terms of jobs, or if you have so many interests that you're not too sure where to focus them, or perhaps you just want to gain some accountability. The people that I've been working so far, they said that they've gained clarity and they feel safe because I hold them the space where they can share and express what exactly they want to do that is aligned for themselves. If you're interested, I invite you to book a discovery call, which is for free. The detail will be in the show note below. So when we talk about Star Wars, I'm going to specifically focus on the nine movies that's already out there, and this is not even included the series like The Mandalorian or Andor or even Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I might put Obi-Wan Kenobi just because I like Obi-Wan Kenobi. By the way, this is spoilers free. I'll try to make it spoiler free, and I'm just gonna use some examples from the movies itself about the characters here and there. When it comes to the role of mentorships or role models, it's pretty much you can see it everywhere, right? Even among the relationships between the Jedi Master and the Padawan, even from as beginning as the first episode, you see the first scene opens up with well, not really opens up, but it pretty much introduced the character of Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan at the time, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But then it progress goes and on and on. The role of mentors here meant like masters, teacher, mentors, or whatnot. This is pretty much to guide their charge, the younger ones, or the Padawan, the apprentice, however you want to call it. It's to guide them according to the field where they work. So, for instance, in the whole Jedi Order itself, we've got Qui-Gon Jinn mentoring Obi-Wan, and of course, there's Master Yoda. The role there is to counsel, to advise the younger ones, or not just younger in terms of age, but usually it's younger in the terms of age, but also younger in terms of experience. And then Qui-Gon met Anakin Skywalker, where due to something, yeah, I'm not. That's gonna be like spoiler, but I'm not gonna say it. So Obi-Wan became in charge of Anakin Skywalker's training. Even the ones that are not from the Jedi Order themselves, one could argue that they are involved in the whole mentorship model. Like, let's take Boba Fett. Boba Fett and Jango Fett. Boba Fett is a bounty hunter that is actually a clone, a child clone of the bounty hunter Jango Fett, being introduced in episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Their relationships are more of like a family father and son but you could say that it's more like a apprenticeship as well, because the father was a bounty hunter, and then the son became a bounty hunter just because he's traveling with him, right? He sees the lifestyle of his father, and well, there's of course maybe some revenge being involved, but otherwise it's pretty much what you see as a role model. And also we've got the character of Padme Amidala, which is the first in the first episode. We know her as the queen of Naboo planet, but later on she became a senator for Naboo, which we can see that she's kind of take a role of a mentee, not a direct mentee, but she learns from her predecessor senator, which is Senator Palpatine. Well, speaking about Palpatine, there's also a pair as well, right? The Sith Lord and then the Sith apprentice. This one is very interesting because they always are in pair. The teacher, one the master, one the teacher, one the student, which of course they will like a teacher will teach or at least take care, look after the student. But in their case, the master, the student will have to kill the master once the master deem that the student is ready. So there's a bit of a different kind of relationships here between mentor or role model and the mentee. Where are we coming here? So when it comes to real life, if we want to go somewhere, if we want to achieve some place, like it or not, there's going to be a figure of a mentor there to guide us, to help us, to direct us, or even showing us the way. Without the ways that this mentor showing us, it will take the journey to be much longer than if we have a mentor. Let's take an example of Rey. So Rey here is a young woman. Her parents left her in the planet Tatooine this is in Star Wars Episode 7. While Rey herself is an independent woman, she pretty much survived on her own, living in the desert. But with such potential, with such talent, she wouldn't go anywhere in terms of growing her skills unless and until she met Luke Skywalker as a role model, as a mentor figure to teach her the way of the Jedi and for the trainings as well. So coming back again, in real life, it's this is the same case. Especially I'm talking to you guys who may feel like I'm okay by myself, I can figure it out, I'm an independent. Yes, you are. Yeah, you are independent. You're capable very much. But I wonder, wouldn't it be nice to have someone who can vouch for you, who can show you how things done, who can help direct you? Say that you may not be in the right direction. You want to go to point A, but then your way is a bit there, or it may take sometimes someone who can show you the rope. I was in the position where I pretty much try to be independent myself, try to rely on myself most of the time. And yes, this comes from a place of pride really, like nobody will understand. Nobody understands where I am and where I want to go and why I want to do this. So I'd rather keep this to myself, which is okay, which is all right. That means discernment. But because of that, my own progress was very slow, and it felt like there's no one that you can bounce idea with, or at least show where you want to go and what's possible if you pursue that path. This is why having a role model is actually important, right? Like, it's not just for us, but suppose that we are already in the position to be a role model, we in turn inspire other people. We inspire other people to follow, or at least to show that yes, this can be done, whatever path that is. And I'm not just talking about in business, because in among corporate lives, or in at least in business, you will get, from my understanding, you'll be assigned with a buddy or a mentor who's like from someone new to for someone new by someone who's already there in the company for some years. I'm talking to the those who may not have access to such arrangement. Do you have anyone who can guide you? Do you have anyone who can show you how it's done? This also comes to the whole trusting and choosing the right person, right? You don't want to get someone's guidance unless you trust them, unless you feel like you resonate with them. Maybe you can say like, yeah, I like I'd like you to be my mentor because hey, I want that job, or like hey, sounds like you have something that you have that I want, so please mentor me. So it that kind of relationship becomes a bit of, I would say, transactional, which is fine, which is fine. Like everyone has their own preference. It's just that for me personally, when I choose my mentor, it is after some time, after some relationships are already built, after I see how I would be a good fit and how the mentor would be a good fit as well. I'm very fortunate that on like when I start business here in the UK, there are role models, there are people who I can proudly call as mentor, who actually show that yes, this can be done. Yes, this is not something new. This is what you're doing. You're not crazy. Like this is, it can be done. Basically, it can be done. Like someone is already there doing it. So why can you? Also, depending on which area of life, I mean, it could be business, it could be life. A mentor would be not fully responsible of your whole life, but depending on the area, let's say I've had a business mentor. Every week or so, we touch base on what we do, what I'm doing, and how I feel about this, and what's the next goal. It doesn't exactly have to be about business all the time as well, but a healthy relationship does keep the boundary, right? So yes, we talk about business, but also we could touch upon other life stuffs that will potentially or already have impact on business life itself. With this episode, I want to invite you really. Do you have any role models or mentors that you can rely on? And if you do, how do you find them? What's your process? Do you ask them and they're okay with you? How's the dynamic of the relationship really? Is it one-sided, two-sided? And if you don't have a mentor or a role model yet, why is that? Is it because you haven't found the right person, or maybe you're just not ready yet? And that's okay if you're not ready yet, because there's a saying, right, that if a student is ready, then the teacher will appear. So if you're still in that position, maybe you can ask yourself here, how would I know if I'm ready? What do I need to do or not to do so that I will be ready for that mentor, the right person to appear? And when I talk about mentor here, it doesn't have to be an external person. Most of the time it's external person, But it could be someone from your family as well. It could be your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt, your grandma, grandpa, your sister, your brother. Could be anyone. And even being a role model itself, right? Because it's not just about us receiving, it's also about us giving to other people. One pitfall that I feel is that we tend to focus more on what I will receive, like what can I get out of this. But sometimes we forget that other people see us as well. Other people look to us as an inspiration, as someone that they trust and they can learn from. And that means something. That means something, especially when we're in a difficult place, when we are, let's say, when we are depressed, when we felt like our we don't mean anything or we're useless here and there, all of those negative stuffs. When we shift our perspective, reminding us that, hey, there are other people who's looking up to you, then you snap back again. So yes, how does that look for you? Do you have anyone that you think, or at least you've heard them telling you right away that I look up to you, like that this is amazing what you're doing. Cherish that person. Cherish that thought. Because when things feel difficult, they're your rock. Well, if you ask me, how do you choose your mentor really? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes they're just assigned to you and trust the process that this is the right person for you. But oftentimes we choose that person as well. Going back with Star Wars example, so Anakin Skywalker's mentors in the Jedi Order are first Qui-Gon Jinn, then Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course there's Master Yoda as well. But his relationship as mentor-mentee more the longest with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yet he chose to embrace the dark side of things because of his fear. So many fears, so many fears in Anakin's life, really. So this is time where the Sith Lord himself fed on that fear, that negative emotion, which led Anakin to abandon his mentor, who meant well, and embrace this dark side of him, going into becoming one of the most memorable villain or anti-hero all the time, Darth Vader. Well, I hope that this episode today has been insightful for you. If you're watching this on YouTube, do write in the comment below. What are your thoughts? What pair of mentor-mentee relationship in Star Wars that you like? And yeah, of course, if you get something out of this episode, write down in the comment. I would love to hear your thoughts and I'll reply back to you. That's it for today's episode, guys. And thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you again in the next episode.